Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
You know those times when you get invited to a party as a guest?
And he took me to a John Legend private concert. I didn't even know that's what we were doing.
You had me at, can you call out sick to work?
And you have no idea what you're in for.
I whipped out my junk and put it on his desk.
This is a podcast about just that.
They're going to arrest us for being on mushrooms at a wizard park. We're in trouble.
This is Plus One Stories.
Okay, so we're back with another episode of Plus One Stories. What's going on? I'm Chris Donovan, your host, and today I get to talk to Martin Moreno, also known as Martin. Martin has been in the industry forever. His best friend is Gabriel Iglesias, also known as Fluffy, and he's been touring with him and opening for him in the comedy world for years. We talk about the one time him and Gabe flew to Mexico City to see Vicente Fernandez's last show. Then we discuss a time where Martin and Gabe are on a private yacht taken to a private island where they have a private wine cave, and he's served a 10-course meal. The first course, mind you, was brought out of the water by a guy in a scuba suit and served right there. That's how fresh it was. And then he wraps it up with a story about meeting Kanye at a private airport in Sweden. Man, this guy's lived a life. So enjoy this conversation with me, Martin Moreno, and go to thisisfunner.com for more information and to get a hold of me. Enjoy. Martin!
What up, dude?
How you doing, man? Thank you for joining the show. I appreciate it.
Dude, thanks for having me. I've been looking forward to it. It's been a long time since we've caught up. And congratulations on everything that you're doing, because holy shit, you're living the dream, brother.
I'm working from home. I guess that's the dream nowadays, right?
Right? Are you kidding me? Bro, this is fantastic. And again, I've always been a big fan of your vision. And, you know, we talked podcasting years ago. I remember when you were still, you know, not working from home. So, you know, you had a vision back then and you've put it all together. And so big props on that, brother. Yeah.
And we'll talk more shop after, because I want to put you on my website. All your stuff, or at least help cross promote. So I appreciate that. I love you, your comedy, everything. You know, I've been a fan since before you knew me. So it's good to call you a friend now. So I appreciate that. And appreciate you joining the show. But as you know, this is Plus One Stories, and we discuss situations that people might have got in just by being a guest of someone. And of course, you being good friends with a fluffy gentleman we know. There might be a story or two with him, but I don't want to give anything away. I don't know where you're going with this. Just let's get started. What's your story about?
Bro, I got to tell you, my entire life has been, I end up somewhere because I was a plus one, or just because of dumb luck, or because just the stars lined up. And I have found myself in some incredible situations. Now, when you invited me to come on, I started thinking like, okay, what are the first stories that come to my mind? What events have happened that were just that impactful that it's like, oh, shoot, this is committed to memory forever? And I got to say, the first one was probably meeting Vicente Fernandez, the singer who passed away December 12th.
Yeah.
The king of ranchero music. You know, when people pass away, you know, everybody remembers JFK, MLK. And I'm not putting this guy in the level of a civil rights leader, but even when Michael Jackson passed away, there's just these figures. Elvis, I was a kid when Elvis passed, but I remember everybody talking about it. The impact that Vicente Fernandez's death had worldwide, not just with the Mexican community or the Latino community, was just, it was felt around the world. And the love that people had for this man was incredible. I mean, I remember growing up as a child listening to his music. I remember my dad's parties where people were singing his music. I remember my friends, little kids in elementary school, that would sing his songs because they knew them by heart. And then I remember going to the movie theater in Wilmington. It was called the Granada, watching this man on the big screen in the prime of his life. He was bigger than life. And I was watching his movies as a child, which was rated R, by the way. I had no business watching them. But, you know, back then you had a quarter, you could get into the movie theater, right?
Shaped your future.
For sure. And so I saw him in concert over at the Gibson many times. And, you know, as he got older, he brought his son on tour, who at first the public did not embrace Alejandro. They were like, hey, we paid to see your dad, not you. Get off the stage, asshole. Like, that's what they would scream at him when he first started going out with him. And then when he did his final tour, the last shows were in Mexico City. And I'd never been to Mexico City in my life. And I remember Gabe said, hey, dude, I've got tickets to one of Chente's final shows. Oof. And I'm like, what? I mean, we're literally almost, you know, second row center. Oh. And this guy is just like, I'm getting chills thinking about it, because he would speak. And when he would like, you know, you go to a concert and sometimes people just sing and get off the stage. Mm-hmm. There's other people who bring you in. They bring you in with personal stories. They bring you in with just being in the moment. And he had a gift for doing that. He'd been performing for God knows how many years at this point. This is his final lap. So damn right, this dude was going to talk. And it was probably just, I'm getting chills. I'm still getting chills as I'm saying this. You know, when he passed on a very significant day for Mexicans, the 12th of December, which is the day of the Virgen de Guadalupe. The Virgen de Guadalupe is just, you know, the just this iconic figure that every Mexican identifies with. And we could get political and say that that's how the Spaniards conquered Mexico, but I don't want to go there with this conversation. But the Virgen de Guadalupe, on the 12th of December, they bring her mariachis and a serenata. They sing the mañanitas to this woman, to this iconic Mexican figure all around the planet, Mexico, of course, and of course in the United States, because there's so many transplants here. But when he passed, they said he went to go sing the mañanitas to the Virgen de Guadalupe. And I mean, I remember crying, dude. I remember crying because it was just so, and my mom had passed like very much around the same time. And she was a Guadalupe, and, you know, she was born on the 12th of December. And so, wow, correct. So it was like just this double whammy of things. And it just brought back all these memories of being backstage. I actually posted the picture when he passed. And so I go backstage to meet this guy. He's a fragile old man by this point, and he couldn't have been more gracious and acting like we were long lost friends, just welcoming, just, you know, and look, there's different, he's a machista, he was a this, he was a that. Motherfucker was 80. What do you expect him to say? Some woke shit? It's not going to happen. The dude was who he was. He lived the life that he could with the tools that he had. But when I met him, he couldn't have been more welcoming. He couldn't have been more gracious. He couldn't have been more just the greatest human, and made it an amazing experience to see him. We took pictures. And again, when he passed, it was one of those, you know, I was somebody's plus one to meet this living legend at the time. So, you know.
Well, it's always good to hear those stories about meeting someone you really, really look up to that went well, because I've heard many that didn't with celebrities that are not so.
That's right.
So socially nice.
Hey, listen, I mean, sometimes you hold the grudge because somebody didn't shake your hand. So what are you gonna do?
But that is so cool. You obviously flew to Mexico City. You went all the way down there to see this concert.
What's even crazier about that is that whole year, you know that song "Wake Me Up" when
September ends.
September ends, yeah. I was like, that, like, it was such a blur. I found myself in Australia, in Europe, in Mexico. I didn't know which way was up.
And you thought it was September the whole time?
My whole life at that moment was so busy, just that, you know, with flights and everything. I was actually on a plane, bro. And the lady was like, where were you? Where are you flying in from? And I was like, I couldn't remember where the hell I had just flown.
And
And then I did take an edible to fall asleep. And I remember just at one point, like, and I was about to get in an international flight that was going to last forever. So I'm like, I need to knock out. Mm-hmm. And I remember, like, I just popped up and I looked at the lady, I said, Las Vegas. She goes, what? And I go, that's where I was. And then she goes,
at the same time, or was this later in the flight?
This is like about maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes later, right?
Oh,
like,
hilarious.
I just saw her walking by and she's like, do you want me to make up the bed for you? I was buying business class. And I was like, I think so. I passed out, dude. I knocked out. I woke up like hours later and she's like, listen, I know people take things to fall asleep. I've never seen anybody fall asleep like you fell asleep. Can you tell me what you took? And I go, it was just an edible. It was just weed. I'm just that tired. It wasn't any, like, she thought I took some kind of crazy narcotic or something, right?
You got a friend, your Cosby friend gave you a little.
Oh, what happened?
Oh, okay. I might edit that. I might not.
You know,
that's hilarious. But when you yelled Las Vegas at her, did it startle her?
Oh, she was like, what are you talking? Like, what are you talking? Like, she had this look on her face, like, what? And I was like, that's where I was. I was so proud that I figured out where the heck I was.
Where were you going? Do you remember where you were going?
I think we were going to either Malaysia or Singapore, somewhere far. Yeah.
You were on the plane for a while then.
Oh yeah, for a long time, bro. So like, you know, when it was the +1 thing, I'm like, okay, which story? And it was just, I couldn't just pick one because I'm like, you know, there's just so many moments, you know, like, and I'm going to try to, and I'm keeping it, you know, I don't want to, you know, just be here and just, you know, talk your ear off all night.
Well, don't worry. We're going to have you back again down the road for more stories because I know you have a bunch of them. A couple of my guests are going to be reoccurring for sure, for that matter.
Oh, that's beautiful, brother. That's beautiful. Yeah. The other +1, you know, is kind of like this just crazy experience. I'm on a private jet over in Europe somewhere with Gabe again. We land somewhere in Norway, and from the airport there is this Sprinter van there to pick us up and take us to, and we're exhausted, by the way, and everybody's like, I just want to go to the hotel and crash. And he's like, but the promoter had set up this dinner, and he's like, it's a surprise, I can't tell you guys what it is. And so we get picked up in the Sprinter van, and now we end up at this dock, and there's this giant yacht. And so we get on this yacht that takes us to this private island. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
There's this beautiful private island, and I'm sitting there, and I had my meditation whistle, and I'm like, you know, let me just blow this whistle right now, because what is, like, what the heck? How did I end up here? Type of a thing, right? Yeah. And I'm on this island that we're supposed to go to this dinner, and this dude, the promoter, was a giant foodie who you know, Michelin, you know, stars, all these chefs, all this, like, you know, just ridiculous food, right? Yeah. And he goes, this is going to be a dining experience like you guys have never experienced. So we get off the boat. As soon as we get off the boat, we're chilling there, and the guy's saying, yeah, we have this wine cellar downstairs. It's all set up for you guys. We're going to have this, I don't know, ridiculous, 10-course meal, whatever the heck it was. But meanwhile, these are the appetizers. And this dude pops out of the water, you know, with scuba gear, and he's got this little satchel, and he brings out these sea urchins, which they split, and he starts feeding us.
What?
Dude, and I'm like at first I'm like, okay, this is crazy time. Like, this isn't something that I would go to a restaurant and order, you know? But this dude, he's dripping water, bro.
Literally came out of the water and handed you dinner.
Came out of the water with a freaking, you know, appetizer. Like, this is your appetizer, bro. And so he's feeding us sea urchin. We go down to this cellar.
This wine cellar on a private island that you got there by a private yacht.
Correct. Where the waves are, like, I had just been meditating, just like thinking, what the hell's going on in my life right now? Like, I'm just being thankful to the universe, right? Yeah. And now I'm downstairs. Stuff is coming out with all we ate whale, for crying out loud. I don't know if you're supposed to eat whale or not, if it's legal to eat whale, if it's illegal to eat whale, I don't think they're endangered, but but it tasted like meat. It tasted like a beef, you know. And then these amazing wines. I'm drinking wine, and we get back on the yacht to leave, and you know, this is how simple of a man I am. Okay, because after all that wine and all the drinking and the food, I'm so satisfied. Now we're on the yacht, and I'm drinking more, and I had to pee, right? And I tell the guy, hey man, where's your bathroom? And he goes, well, you can walk down the stairs, or you go to the back of the boat and just go. And out of all that whole experience, pissing in the ocean from this yacht was my favorite moment, Chris. That's how simple of a human I am. Just the wind hitting my stuff. Fortunately, it didn't blow back on me, you know?
Yeah, you're lucky the wind wasn't blowing on you. You're eating sea urchin, whale, and drinking wine from probably the 1910s.
Probably.
And
but my moment, but my moment is pissing off a boat, bro. Like that's, you know, what a freaking simple. But it's like it was the culmination of the whole thing. Like like this is beautiful. Life is just gorgeous. This is incredible.
It might have been some of the wine talking too.
It could have been. It could have easily been that. And don't get me wrong, everything else was incredible. Listen, when this dude's standing there, and like everybody, and not everybody there ate seafood, was like a seafood fan, but the fact that it just came out of the freaking ocean and this guy's serving it to you, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna try this. I'm not gonna just be all, you know, wacky about this.
So they have farm to table. What is that? Ocean to hand?
Dude, listen, the freshest seafood I had was that. And one time I was in Alaska and they had just caught some salmon. Oh. And the dude goes, that salmon got here 15 minutes ago. It's what we're serving right now.
It's sushi grade. Here you go.
Bro, some of the most ridiculous fish you've ever had. Was that in Alaska? Norway has some really good salmon as well. But yeah, dude, it was again, you know, you find yourself in these situations where you're just like, wow, you know, and it's the theme of this or the name of this is Plus One.
Yeah, you know, so you all got invited to all these things.
I got invited to this. This isn't like I just said, let me set this up. I'm just there because, you know, I talk shit for a living and I'm fortunate enough to open up for one of the, you know, biggest names in comedy in the game right now, which is Gabriel Iglesias. He's going to be in Dodger Stadium in May, which is freaking bananas.
Are you performing?
I will.
Dude. Okay. All right. Evelyn and I will have to go then.
For sure. Sure.
Okay. So hold on a second. The promoter just set up this surprise dinner for you in Norway. Mm-hmm. So the surprise was the yacht, the private island, the cellar, the fresh food, and the peeing off a boat. Well, that was added value.
that was the added bonus.
That's awesome. That is so, dude, that is dope. I mean, I've been lucky enough to go with my wife to Jamaica as a plus one, me being the plus one, her going to work. And I mean, I've done that moment where you're looking around going, man, how did I get so lucky that I'm here right now? That is so dope.
You know, it's and the more time passes by and you look back at those times and they're meaningful then. Mm-hmm. But you end up, and you know as well as I do, when you're in this business, you end up having so many, you know, what the fuck moments that, you know, there's some people that, you know, unfortunately only have one of those moments in a lifetime. Mm-hmm. There's some people that experience them maybe once a year, twice a year, once every 5 years. You know, those moments I'm pretty sure for yourself as well, happen so much that at some point they just become these blurs that when you experience it with somebody that doesn't experience them on a regular basis, and they're like, hey, remember blah, blah, blah. And you're like, I don't remember. And you're just sitting there, not because you're an asshole, but because so many other things have happened, you know, to take that place. And again, it's fortunate. And again, it's a double-edged sword because there's only some of them that actually stick out because you're like, holy shit, this is just huge. And they live there forever. But again, it's a very, I hate to say it because I don't want to sound like a millennial, but blessed and privileged position to be. Sometimes I ask myself, like, I tell Gabe, we used to joke around, like, how many make-a-wishes are we taking from people by doing this shit on a regular basis? Like every weekend is you're at WrestleMania. Now you're in, out there in Puerto Rico, riding scooters through the rainforest. You're in, zip lining through the forest. You're in.
Speaking of that, didn't you say something about a private airport?
So we do privates quite a bit, and a big part of that is because, a lot of times Gabe travels with his dogs, and he doesn't want to go through the hassle of putting them in a little, cage and making them, so in order not to do that, he just does private flights a lot, right? But this time we're in Europe. He had a private plane out there. We're at a private, we were coming, we're in Sweden, and we're about to take off from Sweden. I forget where we were headed. And that night before we headed to the airport, half the crew was miserable because the night before we had gone to dinner at some restaurant, and they were talking about this dude who did these hot dogs that were made with ghost pepper, and the sauce was ghost pepper and the meat was cured with ghost pepper. And he says, this guy's all over the internet. Nobody can finish the hot dog. Nobody can finish the hot dog? Nah, dude, nobody can finish the hot dog. So Gabe's like, all right, let's go find this guy. I'm going to do a challenge where anybody that wants to finish it, if you finish it, you get $5,000. The promoter goes, oh, you're not going to pay anybody because nobody finishes the hot dog. And so we go where the guy posts up. He's not there. Oh. And so they call the guy and they're like, hey, man, somebody says, I can get a hold of him at home, but you're going to have to pay for a lot of hot dogs. And he goes, dude, I'll pay this guy to show up. So he comes to the hotel with his whole getup, and now all these people are out there and they're doing this hot dog challenge, right? Okay. Now I'm like, there's no way I want any part of this. No freaking way am I plowing through a ghost pepper hot dog. I'm just not going to torture myself like that. You can't pay me enough to do that, right? No. So all these dudes are like, hey man, that's $5,000. Christmas is right around the corner. I'm taking this hot dog to the dome. Let's go. I forget how many dudes did it, but only 2 failed. Everybody else kept the freaking thing down. Most miserable night of their life. They are they're crawling on the floor. Like, they're telling me this experience. They're like, I'm looking for the Swedish 911. Like, who do I call? I'm going to die. My stomach feels like I'm tortured. What did I do? I'm so stupid. The next day they're peeing and it burns. It's still coming out of their it's burning while they pee. That's how hot this hot dog is.
Not worth the $5,000.
Okay, so they're miserable. These dudes are laid out. We're in this private airport and they're laid out like it's a Greyhound station in the 70s, bro. And these guys look homeless and they're just disheveled. They're a mess. They're a freaking mess. And then somebody comes in and says, hey man, Kanye West is in the next lounge over.
What?
Everybody and their mother popped up. Forget the stomach pains, forget the fire, forget everything. This is Kanye, and we're talking, this is probably, I want to say 2012 maybe.
Oh, he wasn't totally crazy yet.
No, not at all.
Okay.
But he's still this phenom, right?
Yeah,
huge.
Larger than life.
Yeah, so we go in there and it's like, hey, what's up? Like, just all goofy, right? And the dude's like, hey guys, like he's in a private, he's flying private, so he doesn't have to deal with monkeys like us.
Exactly.
And yet here we are. It's like all these freaking brown people. He's like probably thinking like, I'm in Sweden. Where'd all these Mexicans come from? Like, I'm sure that inspired wall thinking back then, right? Before the wall was even mentioned. Dude, it's like, and so we said to him, hey, are you cool if we take a picture? Yeah. Now, mind you, back then, everywhere we went, Gabe did a meet and greet. And if people wanted pictures, they'd line them up and he would do pictures individually with everybody.
Yep.
Kanye said, and this is what we're thinking we're getting from Kanye. And Kanye goes, sure, no problem. Everybody get together. So he puts everybody in to get like a group, like a sixth grade class picture or some shit, right? So we're all standing there, and he stands in the middle, he kind of poses right there. And his assistant or somebody snapped the picture, which is, I still have to this day. And
you got to send me that.
I got to find it. I don't know where that, but I do have it. And there's people on there that probably don't want to be, that's the reason I haven't posted it. So anyway, it's we met Kanye, we're high-fiving. And at the time, because we're in Norway, Sweden, that whole Nordic region, there's a big heavy metal following over there.
Yeah.
So I had this T-shirt that I was selling at the time that had the Iron Maiden font, it said "Live to Laugh, Laugh to Live," and it had the Eddie guy, the Eddie, but it looked like me with the shades and the hair and everything else. So it was like Eddie, but like a morphine of Eddie and me. Live to Laugh, Laugh to Live, and it was in neon pink were the letters, and there was neon greens in there. Very 80s metal. And in the back it said "Laugh Till You Die" with the Haunting the Chapel font from Slayer.
Oh, geez.
Super cool shirt. And Kanye, as we were walking around out, he said, "Hey man," and I turned around and he goes, "I love your shirt." And I'm like, "What?" And then once he became this like this fashion mogul, I'm like, "Holy fuck!" He gave props to my shirt, like that moment, like out of all the meeting Kanye, the whole thing, but he gave props to the shirt that I envisioned and designed. And again, because I'm a +1 at a private airport in Sweden.
I would have given my shirt off my back, been like, "You can have it."
I should have. And somebody said, "Bro, tell him you're going to send him one." And I'm like,
"Yeah,
he's, and I should have, but I'm like, you know what? That was him saying it was validation that it was a cool shirt. And I did sell out there in the Nordic territories.
That's funny you say that though, because just last week we had Steve Moreau, the old CEO of Orange County Choppers, on.
Okay.
He met Trump when they built a bike together. And he was saying how Trump first showed up and they just had their new headquarters done. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's a giant building, has OCC on the front. And the first thing Trump said was, "Wow, that's a really pretty building. That's nice." And him being a huge real estate guy in this building.
Of course.
Yeah. Steve was like, "That was the biggest compliment I could have got the whole time. Walking around and building a bike was fun, but that was dope that he said that." And that's hilarious. He said the same thing.
Same thing.
So cool. That is so dope. So, okay. So let me do a little recap for you. You're flying somewhere over in Sweden and Europe. Mm-hmm. Gabe likes to bribe people with money and ghost pepper. So that guy comes and does the ghost pepper challenge outside the hotel. You guys are all hurting, and I'm sure I know some of them, so I'm going to ask them next time. And then, so who comes over and says Kanye's in the next lounge over?
I think it was Alfred spotted him.
So one of your guys spotted him. It's not like somebody came over and said, "Hey, Kanye's here."
No. He spotted him because you get to walk around and look.
Oh, yeah.
I've been in private airports in Dubai. I've been in private airports in Saudi Arabia and just these places where they have clocks and they're all Rolex clocks and things, and you're just like impressive as hell. But yeah, Alfred likes to wander and he always recognizes people and he has no shame. He'll just go right up to them and then, "Hey, everybody, come here." It's like, just no, what, by that point, what are they going to say? Where's he going to go? It's not like he could even leave. He's just there waiting for his flight, to be ready to go. So Alfred spotted him.
Well, props to Alfred for making that a little bit more fun, or shall I say funner
for sure,
than everybody trying to not go to the bathroom in their pants.
Right.
That is awesome, dude. Holy cow. We definitely have to get you back on because I know there's lots more stories. I've heard them on stage, but I want to hear the ones that haven't been on stage. That's the ones I want to get to.
And there's so many, like, again, I was sitting here and as I was racking my brain, I'm like, Kanye is huge right now, just by so many reasons. People love a train wreck, and at this point, his train is definitely it's wrecked, and the cars behind it just keep on adding to the wreckage. I think he just did a video of burying Skate alive or something that he's getting shit for, and so and then his documentary's out. Time the 2 is out. So is he a marketing genius and all this is by design? And Pete and Kim are all in on it? Or is his mental health deteriorating to the point where shit's really falling apart? I don't know. But at the end of the day, it's all working out for him because all eyes are on him.
Yeah,
they say no press is bad press. So because he's so prevalent right now, it just says, I've met Kanye. Like, this is crazy time, and Chente just passed, rest in peace. I'm like, I met Chente, and then in between the two, dinner on a private island with sea urchin,
Okay, so you're already on an island surrounded by water, and then they dug a big ass hole to put in a wine cellar.
Bro, it's incredible.
That is amazing. That's one of my goals is to get a yacht. One of my end game goals is to get a yacht. I don't care how big it is, but I want a yacht.
Well, one of the Russian oligarchs just lost his $600 million one. So if you want to put a bid on it, I got 5 on it.
Okay. All right. 500K. All right. I'll hit up some people. We'll get it back.
$600 million yacht.
I think you mean million, right?
$600 million yacht this guy had. It's got a pool in it. Like what are you talking about?
Just a hot tub.
Anyway.
Fine.
It's a time machine, bro.
Yeah, it is. All right, Martin, thanks so much for joining me, man. We'll have you on very soon. Is there anything you want to promote right now?
Dude, we'll be at Dodger Stadium in May 7th. And then, I have the Yo podcast with Martin and Hooter. I also do Brujo 101 with a Santera friend of mine. Nice. And we talk everything spiritual, religion, and folklore. So that's Brujo 101. And you know what? MartinMoreno.com. They can find anything they want. Bro, thank you so much for inviting me and having me. It's always good to catch up with you. And I know this was a podcast thing, but we got to get together for real and just chill. It's been a long time.
I agree. Evelyn and I'll try to make those plans to come out in May to see you at Dodger Stadium, but if not a week before or so, we can hang out and get some dinner or something, hang out with Gabe, say hi.
Sounds beautiful, brother.
All right, Martin, I appreciate it so much, man. Take care.
Anytime, brother.
All right, peace.
Bye.
You've survived another story. Thanks for listening, and please let us know what you think about the show by leaving a rating and review. If you have a story or want to connect with Chris, go to thisisfunner.com.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.